by the way, this will be available, a recording of this, so some of these I'll just jump through quickly. It's to touch on what we're doing in our programs that are focused on coach training and EI development programs and products. And one of the things I mentioned at the beginning was that I'd share a little bit about how we designed those. And so I want to focus on this slide just briefly, particularly the upper left-hand corner. So everyone who's there, particularly those of you who are in situations where you might want to replicate some kind of strategy, what we did we've spent about 2 years working on and now piloting and deploying different solutions. But one of the main things we did was integrate what's known about cognitive behavioral therapy in the context of actual enduring behavioral change, and also using the concepts of scaffolding in developing behavioral change and learning. So journaling is one of the tools that we used, not a significant amount of daily effort required, but an ongoing small amount of daily journaling activity and learning activity for what we call sustained engagement. We also used the micro-learning strategy so that people are engaging every day in learning something about themselves and experimenting with a technique in the workplace with their coworkers or their family to help gather new information from others about how they're perceived. And obviously, we used the neuroscience basis in a lot of our design decisions, and we're heavily technology enabled. So we're running off web platforms and phones to make it as easy as possible for people to get those little reminders, those little pieces of information that are helpful during the day, or those even those moments to check on their emotional state and start to learn more about how their environment contributes to emotional reactions. And that's all I want to focus on here. You can see there's some other data about how we're tracking engagement, but that can be for another call. Very quickly, just so you know what this slide is, it touches on what Dan mentioned earlier. He links a lot of this research back to David McClelland, and he had what's known as a landmark paper, Testing for Competence, Not Intelligence. And I think it's important for people to understand that's going back to 1973, and there's a tremendous amount of research that's been done since then, not only by Dan, but also by Richard Boyatzis, to develop the model that we're working with today. And that also feeds the instrument we mentioned, the ESCI, that Korn Ferry licensed, which at this point has over 80,000 assessments in the data model, with in addition to over 700,000 raters from 2,200 organizations. So what we've learned from that activity, we've cycled back into a lot of the decision-making and planning that's contributed to the solutions we're working with today.
So with that, we're nearing our end time. Gentlemen, Dan, Matt, thank you so much. It's always an honor to speak with the both of you about such an important topic within our field. So thank you for today's presentation and answering our questions.
Quite a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for your gracious hosting skills, Ryan.